Fairbanks Focus is a locally produced public affairs program created in part by University of Alaska Fairbanks, KTVF, and Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation.
Thanks for joining us here at Fairbanks Focus Alaska View. I'm Nanette Pearson, and today I am joined by Moira O'Malley, educator and artist, and Clara Maish, one of the collaborative artists from this year's Watershed mural project. Thanks for joining us today, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. Yeah. And there's been a lot of information going on about this mural that you guys are putting together for the library. Is that correct, at Watershed School?
Yeah, we're really excited. We're hosting a First Friday event. It's going to be tonight. I can't believe it. We've been working so hard for the last month to pull this event together. We really want to share it with the community and have it be an opportunity for people to come check it out. So.
Well, and it's really cool. It's kind of one of those things where I don't know as much as I'd like to know about the project, and it sounds really, really neat. But you guys have been working on this since was it last spring?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have several artists that have been working together since last spring just to bring this all together. And tell me some of those other artists and what they brought to the table, since they couldn't be with us today.
Absolutely. Well, we came together in the spring, like you said. It was Zach Myers, Laura Cartier, Moira, and myself came together and started talking about what we might do to create a mural. And
how did this get started? Was someone like, we really need to put some art in this library, or?
I think the conversation about brightening up the library was discussed with the teachers, and coincidentally, it just Claire and I talked about this before. It all seemed to come together at one time.
It was sort of a very serendipitous kind of thing. The librarian at the time, PJ, was working really hard to pull together all the books that had been donated and purchasing new books and really pulling the library together, but it was still just kind of lacking that just one bright spot. And so I think that was kind of the main idea, the trigger for starting all of it. But
giving people an inspiring place to learn more.
Exactly.
Right, and so PJ went to our sixth grade teacher, Ron Harper, and asked if his students could do a mural. And then Ron came over to my classroom, and Laura, my intern, was sitting there also, and asked if we were interested, and we were interested. And at that same time, a grant had just come through from Alpha Theta Delta Kappa, and that's what started. That money was used for materials, and then the artist in resident. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah. So the Arts Association has a fantastic program, Artists in the Schools, and it's a very popular program here in Fairbanks and statewide as well. But I was able to be hired through the Artists in Schools program, which is huge for me to be able to give so much time to this project and be paid for it.
And is that like a state project, or a state grant that allows us to hire local artists?
Yeah, exactly. It's funded by so many different sources. National Endowment for the Arts. It's it comes from a lot of different places. The state legislature ultimately.
Well, I know that they funded lots of projects at my daughter's school too, at Barnett. She gets to learn knitting and all kinds of wonderful crafts and stuff like that.
Very
cool.
So
that's you're employed through that same program.
Yes, essentially. Yeah, the Artists in Schools program is local to Fairbanks, but there is a statewide program as well.
Oh, cool. So they actually have you come and teach kids art?
Essentially, yeah. So you go through a 3-day training program, and then it's over the course of a few weeks, but you can do essentially any project. You can approach a school, or a school will approach you, and it's so wide-ranging what you can do. But yeah, it's all about getting art in the schools and artists in the schools, bringing the community in too, I think. So.
Well, and I think that's great for kids to get art at school, and there's nothing better than being actually taught by an artist.
Yeah.
So, and then and then when you get to see that artist out in the world, it's like, oh yeah, she came and taught my class.
Totally. and just to say, from the artist perspective too, it was a really eye-opening experience for me to be able to work with kids and to see just how awesomely capable they are and how fearless they are. And I learned so much from them too. It wasn't just a one-way street. So
the kids really had a real important and big hand in the collaboration of the mural.
Absolutely. Yeah, the four of us met and kind of discussed what we wanted to have in the mural, and then beyond a few pencil lines, I would have the kids come in and we'd talk about a couple different things, and they always had questions, and I'd answer them, and then we'd start painting, and we just painted alongside one another, and that's how the mural was completed. So,
and I think probably the biggest focus for us was the collaboration. We wanted community involvement. We got a community artist. We have the science component with Zach Meyer,
yeah.
and that is an element of the mural that has definitely added, and Clara will explain what Zach has done.
Yeah. So if you want to talk about that, he's done a really amazing thing. When the four of us first came together, we were all really excited about taking art and science and putting them together and really kind of enhancing each subject by bringing them together. And so Zach was responsible for essentially developing. He used Erasma, which is an application you can get on any smart device. We had iPads that we were working with, and it's an augmented reality app. And so basically what it does is it adds layers of information. When you point the device at the mural, it can recognize images, and it will pull up additional information which he has designed. So we have videos, we have an information pamphlet about, for example, if it was the fox, it would have its scientific name, its range.
So in Zach
further
really,
information,
really brought the technology
Yes.
component into that science.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, and it's such an important part. Like, I'm unfortunately not nearly as technology savvy as I would like to be. But it's definitely a really important part of the education that we're bringing to our children, because they live in a world filled with technology, and they need to know how to make these things work for them rather than being ruled by them.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like you guys really have focused on how to bring that and how to make it beneficial and where they can learn even more.
We were talking on the car ride over here, and I just have to say, I think that this is a really amazing project, because oftentimes we get so, sucked into our devices, and we're just, it's kind of an altered reality. And one of the really fascinating and amazing things about this project was that I feel like it's bringing us back into it. It's, what's the word? We said it so well in the car.
Organic.
It's really organic. Yeah, organic, and it's kind of a new way of using technology in a way that it's not so isolating. It's really about bringing kids together. It's about connecting kids to nature. It's totally in line with Watershed's core principles, and it's all about the natural world.
Tell us a little bit about what Watershed's core principles are, too, for the people in the community who might be familiar with Watershed, because it's still a pretty new school.
Yes, this is Watershed's 5th year, and we have a place-based education where we use the immediate environment for our studies, for our science studies, social studies, very community-based. And a big part of that philosophy is getting the kids outside. And that's why this mural ties a lot of those components into our beliefs. These are the what the kids study, and it's from their immediate neighborhood and surroundings.
Well, and you guys have done all kinds of really cool stuff that I've heard about from some different friends whose kids have gone there. Like I know my daughter's friend Emmy, for instance, built her own desk her first day of school.
Right.
That's so cool.
And I thought that was the neatest thing, because not only does it teach you the importance of things like measuring and learning how to build and craft and skill, it also teaches you that was her desk for the year. So it also teaches you the importance of doing something well the first time, because it might be all that you get to use for the rest of the semester. So I really liked that, and I thought it sounded like such a cool thing. And I like that you guys are constantly doing stuff with the community and filtering in these other aspects. So Zach really brings in the technology component. Tell me a little bit more about the other artists and their part.
Yeah, absolutely. So Laura Cartier, for example, she is teaching in Egypt right now, which is why she can't be here with us today. But she was kind of the first person who helped sort of make these connections between all of us, although you and I did take a class together, so we did know each other prior to this. But she helped pull together all the curriculum from the teachers. Moira and her were both responsible for that aspect, but they went around and gathered all that material, organized all the kids when the kids could come in, which was huge for me, because coming into that school I have no idea how things are laid out or how they function. So they're really responsible for that organization on that organizational level. And then Laura also helped later on when we got to the end of the school year and we realized after 40 hours of working with students, we weren't nearly done with the mural. We organized a summer art program for 3 weeks, and Laura helped host that as well. And so, yeah. And I mean, really, it was just all 4 of us being together, and it gives me goosebumps to think about because we all 4 just got so excited, and the ideas just started pouring, and that was really the magic behind it, I think.
Well, and it sounds like the collaboration is really what made it so successful.
Yeah.
And I mean, to have it be part of Summer Fine Arts, that brings in a whole different group of students that maybe wouldn't have gotten to participate.
Oh, sorry, not Summer Fine Arts.
Oh, no.
It was just an independent
summer.
club.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. That's quite all right. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool, though, because then those same kids got to do something during the summer.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think students K through 8 helped, so students from all grade levels were a part.
And she helped find all those students too and usher them into the library so we could.
Even though we're the core collaborators, it really took, I mean, we had the support of John Carlson, our principal. It wouldn't have gone anywhere without him. And the other teachers were very supportive, talking to us.
And then through Zach, I mean, One Tree was hugely supportive under the Backlap program to be able to have Zach be in the schools, and that was sort of, I mean, there was just so much support from so many people. And
Zach has been at Watershed, I keep saying 5th year, I think
it's the 5th
it's
year.
the 5th year, and so the kids know Zach. He's built up a rapport with the kids.
And does he teach science? Or what does he teach up at Watershed?
Yeah, he teaches all
He's
kinds
a
of
dendrologist, right? But he's been working with One Tree.
Yeah, and he's an education specialist, so he does lesson planning. I mean, he's taught a lot more than just science, I would say, but mainly focused on science. So.
And he has a creative, I think very creative also to have done the technology part.
Yeah. Well, and do you guys want to take a look at the technology part?
Sure,
This stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know if my cameraman has a couple minutes that he can take just to focus in on these guys, because this is something really neat. So this is actually part of the mural.
Yes, so this is a picture of a fox that is in the mural, and it's smaller than life size, but we're gonna have these as guides so people know where to point the device. So I have my iPad here, and I've opened the Erasma app, and then it's going to go ahead and recognize this image, and you can see that there's a book that pops up, there's a time-lapse video that pops up, and then there's also further information that pops up with the scientific information. And this was all designed by Zach, and it's a really incredible way for people to move around the mural and interact and check out different, we did the glacier, we did animals, we did.
And do you want to show people the glacier?
Sure, let's check out the glacier. So I'll start from the beginning here. So the app's called Erasma. So you just open the Erasma app, and then you can go ahead and it will recognize that image. And here's the time lapse here. It's being kind of slow because we don't have internet right here. But then there's a time lapse of the glacier moving across Earth. So yeah.
Well, that's really neat. And how big is this mural? Because it was a pretty big undertaking.
Yeah. we're looking at each other and laughing because when we first walked in, this is one of my favorite stories. When we first walked in, we were talking about doing a 10-foot section of the wall, 10 foot by 2 foot, and we were really excited about that. That was big enough as it was, and then it very quickly turned into, let's paint the whole wall. So it's a 40-foot by 10-foot wall. So
wow.
It's a big wall.
So how much paint did that take?
It took a lot of paint, and thanks for bringing that up too, because
the materials
far exceeded the initial
$300
that
we had thought.
But people really pulled together. Our Parent-Teacher Student Association gave us money for materials, and quite a bit, and Delta Theta Kappa Gamma also has given us money for materials.
Now who are those guys?
And that was our first grant, and to me that's kind of where it started for me in a way too, as a grant.
Yeah.
What can we write a grant for? Oh, mural materials. It's a teacher organization,
Oh, okay.
And they offer,
and they do for teachers and anybody in education. They have these grants that you could write, and they support education. And they're just like to give back to the community. That's their goal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, very cool. So those guys, it sounds like they were instrumental in really helping get you guys the
Foot in the door,
It
definitely.
all happened at the same time. Asking to do the mural, that grant came across because we were trying to. Where are we getting money? Clara offered to volunteer, but it's like no. We'll figure out how to give you a stipend. How about $200? But that's when Artist in Residence program came, at the same time just.
So it really was a culmination that just came together.
It really was. Jess Pena from the Arts Association was instrumental in seeing that this could be really beneficial for the mural and allow it to grow into something even bigger. And so we were really happy that they came in and helped pay me.
Well, and that's really
I was very
cool.
happy.
Well, and to think about working on a 40 by 10 foot mural, that takes a lot of time.
It does, yeah.
Especially when you're coordinating with that many people and with all of those students. And so you had students from as young as kindergarten all the way to 8th grade that helped collaborate on this.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had about 60 students total, I think is what we figured out in the end, and give or take. And then
what parts did they collaborate on, out of curiosity?
Yeah, pretty much the painting was the main thing, but we had a lot of different discussions too with especially some of the older students. We sat down and brainstormed, what do you see outside that you want in the mural? And so just to give you a better idea, initially I had some pencil lines drawn out, and I worked with the younger students for the first part. So they helped block in big areas of color, and then as the grades and the skill level increased, I started to give them more freedom in terms of adding, if you want to put a willow bush there, go for it, and the birch trees, each student was responsible for a few different birch trees, and that's one of my favorite examples because they're all just such unique interpretations of birch trees, but together they really stand as a whole, and I think that's amazing, and yeah.
That's pretty fantastic. Now, did the other artists also participate in the Artist in Residence program?
I was the only one who actually participated as part of that program, but I think what we're trying to get at in terms of saying we're all artists behind it is because really it's not just about the paint on the wall, it's about the idea, it's about this additional layer of technology that's being incorporated, it's about the education and teaching background that goes into it as lesson plans and as sharing, self-driven independent inquiry in these kids. That's all the art of it. I feel like it's not just the paint, it's everything that went into it. So, and we're all artists in that sense.
That's really cool. And so I know you guys are having a First Friday event tonight.
Yeah.
The program doesn't air on television generally until Sunday, just so you know.
Yeah,
but
that's
if
okay.
people wanted to come check it out, do you guys have opportunities for people to come check it out when school's not in session?
That's a really good question.
It is a good question, and I'd like to say yes, but that would we'd have to ask, go through John Carlson. But we do have pretty much an open door policy. But they would either call or check in
ahead of time,
and not just walk in. But
right, because it's still school.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. And people check in and out of the office as long as they let our admin assistant know or the principal know or call ahead of time.
And are you guys ever looking for more materials or anything else to go into your mural project, or really anything?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of a leak, and so on the far left side of the mural, there's been some water damage, just a little bit, but enough that I think I'm at least hoping. I haven't, we haven't totally talked about our plan forward, but I'm hoping to come in and hopefully sand that down and repaint those areas that were damaged, and we would need materials for that, absolutely. And a great way to contribute to it too would be to donate books for the library as well. I think that they're always in need of new materials in that sense.
How would people go about doing that? Would they just contact the Watershed and bring them directly?
I think so. Just call Watershed and talk to Georgiana would be the best. And I'd like to mention that this has been very exciting for Watershed and the families because the school has been a work in progress, starting from scratch, and the mural on the library has seemed to pull a lot of things together, and it's like the icing on the cake. It's our school, we're almost there, into our 5th year. We can feel comfortable with where the school's gotten. We started out with, like Emmy, and they built their own desks. I didn't have any desks in my classroom, so we had a lot of classes outside on a blue tarp. Actually, it's one of my favorite years of teaching.
That's awesome.
So this is just, we're there for a new school. This is just fantastic. And we just, with the curriculum, we like to integrate the curriculum. It's not just, we just don't ski. We're not a skiing school, even though skiing is a huge component of Watershed. We also do the sciences. We also do art. It's just...
Skiing's the way to get out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
It's just another way to get the kids into nature.
Yeah. Yes, and that's... It's all about teaching the kids to be... respect nature, become stewards of nature, and what is it? Get out.
Yeah.
So, and get away from the
Yeah.
those things.
I like that you're bringing technology and helping kids learn about nature with the technology.
No, and that's why
Totally.
we're excited.
Yeah.
There is a place for technology. I will admit. And now I guess that's been documented.
Yeah.
I actually said that.
So is Watershed, does it serve a certain area, or is it more like a magnet school? Or how
Okay,
does that work?
Barnett is a magnet school, so they have their own formula where the schools come from. We are a charter school. It's from the difference between a charter and a magnet is the charter school. Anybody can come to the school, but we have a lottery system.
Okay.
Yes, and yes.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. And how would if people were interested in having their kids go to Watershed?
The lottery is in the spring, so I would start calling and pay attention to the lottery date. It's usually in the spring.
I think there's a lot of information online too
Yeah,
on the Watershed
thank you.
website.
On the Watershed website.
You can
and
see all the...
we do have openings, but we do have openings. So people should, if they're interested, should definitely look into it and get into the lottery, because there still are. We're at full capacity, but there are
the
openings.
kids graduate and move up, and
Yes. And we were fortunate to have it's the diversity that we have, and we do have some military families, and they leave, and
In fact,
just,
one of the artists,
yeah,
Juliana, just left. We're so sad.
We're very sad.
She just left and won't be able to be there on First Friday, but she was very integral.
Yeah.
Student artist. She was always there and very excited.
Very cool. Well, and I hear so much about the Watershed School, and I hear about all these awesome things that you guys are doing. And so I just want to let the public know a bit about you, because you guys have been around. You said it's been 5 years now.
This is our 5th year.
So I didn't realize it had been quite that long. But yeah, it's been 5 years. And you guys just keep expanding and growing. And I just want to make sure that the public knows that they can always help you guys continue to expand and grow.
You.
And this mural is such a cool project.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you're opening up to the public tonight for First Friday. And I hope that more people can come check it out. And more schools want to do something like this, because you guys are always just really on the cutting edge of new ways to teach people. I think that's great, because we don't all learn in the same way.
Exactly. And I know we're focusing on the mural right now, but there is also another. If for First Friday, the mural is a part of it. There's also the student artwork will be on the walls. And there's a beautiful mural as you walk into the school that was done a couple of years ago with Miss Campbell's class, which is worth seeing also.
Yeah,
there's going to be quilts, an alien snow sculpture spaceship landed there last night with blinking lights and everything. So it's going to be a full school First Friday.
Yeah.
So you guys have got a full artscape planned for
good word,
Yes,
artscape.
Yes, that is a great way to say it.
And you'll see a lot of the art is focused on science. A lot of it will be focused on science and science studies. Sienna's, Miss Campbell's. As you walk in, everybody's. Yeah.
So it sounds like you could use some materials still. So you're looking still for books for the library. You said some materials maybe for sanding. So like if people have paint and construction stuff, what kind of stuff specifically would you want?
That's a great question. I still need to look into the restoration aspects of it to know exactly what it is we need. So, I mean, I hate to say it, but money is the best thing, because that's flexible in the sense that I can find out, I need so and so. But yeah, we're gonna need some paint. We do need some new brushes. Unfortunately, the brushes got pretty abused, as I expected they would after what they've been through. So
after 40 by 10 feet of mural?
Yeah, we could use maybe a couple of new brushes, and really it's going to be the time, and I don't know if.
And have they got where the leak's coming from under control?
Yes, it's under. It shouldn't be damaging the mural anymore, but that's what we hope, and so that does need to be fixed. So I don't know if somebody. John is on top of it. I don't. That's John's arena. He knows how to deal with that stuff. I can't speak to that anymore. So yeah.
Well, and what do you guys see for the future of the Watershed School? Do you guys see more murals in your future? Are you guys going to take the other mural that you have as you walk into the building and make that one interactive?
Well, I think that there aren't plans necessarily to make the one in the hallway interactive. I think that's a standalone piece.
Yeah.
That's always been kind of a separate deal. One of the amazing things about the technology component with this mural is that it is ever evolving and has potential for students and teachers to come in and change the information, to customize it to their own needs.
And what we have been talking about is actually having the students write. To somehow put it on in the interaction, to have the students have ownership and involved in the material that's being put on.
The technology part.
The technology part.
Well, and I think that they would get a lot out of that.
Yeah.
I think we're so integrated, unfortunately, into technology, and as a college student too, so much of your teachers expect you to be able to send them everything by email. And wouldn't that be cool if you could then look at what a kindergartner has to say about the fox versus what a third grader has to say about the fox.
Yes.
So that would be,
and that would be a writing component, again, tying in the different curriculum.
Yeah.
Which is, if you can tie it all in, I think that the students get so much more out of that.
When it's all working together.
And especially the mural components. I know the primary kids are they love the animals and they're interested. They're very engaged in the subject matter. Yeah.
Well, and what a fun thing for First Friday, and what a great piece of art that will just continue to be there for students.
Change. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I thank you so much, ladies, for coming on and talking to us about this great new mural project. And I look forward to seeing what Watershed has to show us in the future.
Okay, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching today. Join us next week for Fairbanks Focus, Alaska View. I'm Nanette Pearson.